Good morning, everybody. Maxime Bernier is our top story today, but I wanted to do some housekeeping stuff first. CanadaPoly.com has a private registered form. That means once you register, you can join in our conversation. And the conversation is growing. Our membership is growing, and we'd love to have you come and join us. There's lots of really interesting stuff, and I'm finding out and learning things that I wouldn't have otherwise learned. So it's turning into a really robust conversation, and it's really neat to watch. Some people have asked me how to contribute to server costs or how to just contribute to what I'm trying to do, and up till now I haven't had anything, but now I have a donate button. So there's a donate button on the website, and you can donate every month, so it's subscription donation, or you can donate one time, and that's all on the same page. So link is in the description, and thank you if you want to contribute, and no problem if you don't. Thanks for watching. Maxime Bernier says, why the People's Party of Canada? Read or reread my declaration on August 23rd explaining why I left the CPC. And here it is. So the link will be in the description. You can read the whole thing for yourself. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm going to read the important parts and tell you what I think about it. Okay, here we go. Over the past few months, I've been raising policy issues which I believe are crucially important for the future of our country. This is my job as a member of parliament. Moreover, it is my duty as a conservative member of parliament to contribute to debates and to offer policy solutions from a conservative perspective. Otherwise, what is the point of being involved in politics? I am in politics to defend ideas, real conservative ideas, because I passionately care about Canada's future, because I know that the free market conservative philosophy has the best solutions to ensure our society is more prosperous, secure, and peaceful. However, my party's stand on several issues have convinced me that under the current leadership, it has abandoned its core conservative principles. I still cannot understand how a party that is supposed to defend free markets supports a small cartel that artificially increases the price of milk, chicken, and eggs for millions of Canadian consumers. More importantly, supply management has become one of the main stumbling blocks to an agreement with the United States on NAFTA. Former Conservative leader Brian Mulroney and Rona Ambrose agree that it should be put on the table. And I'm just going to pause here. This is August 23rd, so this is before NAFTA was finalized, or new NAFTA, USMCA was finalized. This is before September. I mean, there have been so many gaps between September and now that I wanted to remind you of the timeline. We missed like an entire summer with uncertainty, and that's bad for the stock markets because the USMCA wasn't signed. It was supposed to be a quick slam dunk update of NAFTA, right? Like, we got first movement. Trump came to Canada first to say, yeah, we'll get this done, and then we'll invite Mexico, and boom, it's all done. But that didn't happen because Trudeau absolutely messed it up in order to get LGBT and gender, sorry, it's not LGBT, gender issues into the USMCA, and that got quashed anyway and before it got signed by Congress. Like, it's really, really just terrible waste of awful negotiation tactics, and the fact that they didn't put supply management on the table was something that Bernier was very critical of at the time. So this is back in August. Anyway, back to the article, or back to what Bernier was saying. So Brian Mulroney and Rona Ambrose agree that it should be put on the table. But the Conservative Party has been siding with the Liberal government. It also supports the retaliatory tariffs of the Liberal government, even though this is going to hurt our businesses and consumers, even though Canada has no realistic chances of winning a trade war with a neighbor 10 times larger, even though we could successfully relaunch the negotiations if we put supply management on the table, and if we accept President Trump's offer to negotiate a dismantling of all barriers as the European Union has done. The Liberals are playing politics with this crucially important trade file. They're endangering 20% of our economy that depends on trade with the US and Canada's future prosperity. But instead of leading as principled conservatives and defending the interests of Canada and Canadians, Andrew Scheer is following the Trudeau Liberals. I was told that internal polls are showing that the Liberals' response to Trump is popular, and that in 6 months, if the polls change, the party's stance may also change. The party's stand may change too. The same thing happened in reaction to my tweets on diversity and multiculturalism. This is another crucial debate for the future of our country. Do we want to emphasize our ethnic and religious differences and exploit them to buy votes, as the Liberals are doing, or emphasize what unites us and the values that can guarantee social cohesion? Okay, and I'm going to leave him there. And I wanted to point out, like, when he's attacking the Liberals and the sitting government, he's attacking Trudeau, and he's drawing parallels to what Scheer's doing. And I was saying this all through the summer and all through September and October. Mr. Scheer, it was only 6 days before the Global Compact on Migration before Scheer came out against that. And I was saying that I was frustrated with his inability to talk to things that people want to talk about. Immigration is one. Illegal border crossing was one. And it took far too long for Mr. Scheer and his party to come out with that. So And now we're in a bit of not a bit of a different situation, but we're in a situation where Scheer's caught up and he's paying attention, and I'm going to show you that he is paying attention. But it is worth highlighting the differences, because there are differences between Scheer and Maxime Bernier. And I know that people are going to roll their eyes at that, but yeah, it bears pointing out, because there are policy differences on them as well. Like, Scheer is fine with the transfer payments, but he wants to have a local politician oversee them, which is, again, Bernier's argument, but it's not shrinking the government, right? It is just keeping the government the same size, but changing who the administrators are. That doesn't save us any money. But Scheer is paying attention, and Scheer is listening, and he's changing his message. And here's an example of that. So this was posted yesterday, and there's no smiling Scheer in this video. There's no grin. There's no any of that, not even close. So it's interesting to see the Conservative Party's message change, right? It's evolving, because as time goes on, the information's coming back. Their focus groups are coming back. They're able to flesh out their platform, and the closer we get to election, they have to roll their platform out, right? And Bernier's pushing the rollout. I mean, Bernier has to have a platform. He can't say I'm gonna run on something and not have anything. So just the way he's rolled out his party, the People's Party, necessitates him having a fairly solid platform. And not much is going to change on Bernier's platform between now and election. But Scheer's only rolled out his law and order aspect, right? The increased police powers, etc., to fight gang violence stuff. That's been his big plank so far, right? And the rest of the stuff he hasn't really touched on. This video starts to touch on those things, and he's paying attention to. He's watching my videos. He's paying attention to the other pundits on YouTube who are criticizing him specifically with his mannerisms, with his movements, with his speaking. He's changing. So, I mean, it's interesting to watch in real time, and I want to note that he's changing. Just like I noted, Bernier's English is getting better, right? Like these things matter, because nobody else is paying attention. Like 1% of the population, 2% of the population is paying attention right now. Nobody else cares about this stuff. But the parties are paying attention, and they're changing. So here's Scheer. He is not smiling, and we're going to watch the whole thing, and I'm going to talk about the breakdown. This is a strong video. There's a couple of things I disagree with on the video, because I'll tell you at the end. It's not a huge, strong disagreement. It's just it's a good video, and they could have made it a little bit better. But neither here nor there. Okay, here we go.
Was doubling down on his bailout of the media. They're trying to buy off media outlets with a payout package. What's worse, Trudeau's Liberal government will get to appoint whoever they want to a special panel that will make decisions on which companies get money and which don't. Trudeau should not be the one deciding which media outlets survive and which will be allowed to fail, especially in an election year. A healthy democracy relies on an independent press, one that is free from political influence. Many in the media probably won't be influenced, but the optics and perception of receiving a big cash payout from the Liberals in an election year cannot be ignored. This conflict of interest created by Trudeau's media payout is simply unacceptable. This is a threat to a free and independent press, full stop.
I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors. So help me God.
Since the very first day he took office, the Liberals have been hard at work trying to ram through legislation that will give the Liberal Party an unfair advantage in the 2019 election. Let's look at just a few examples. First, Trudeau tried to limit how much time he has to spend answering questions in the House of Commons. He actually wanted to change the rules so that he would only have to show up to work once a week. Then he tried to manipulate the election financing rules to limit how much opposition parties are allowed to spend in the lead up to an election. Trudeau knows he can't compete with the commitment of our conservative supporters, so he's trying to win by changing the rules. Then in the last few months, Trudeau opened the door to election fraud with his new election bill. He's trying to bring back voter information cards as legitimate voter ID, despite the fact that tens of thousands of cards are regularly sent to people who don't exist, duplicates, to people who have passed away, even people who have never had citizenship. Each of these examples would be bad enough on their own, but the Liberals have outdone themselves. The president of one of the largest unions in the country proudly stated he would be my worst nightmare in the next election. Now, Jerry Diaz, this union leader, represents 15,000 journalists, openly declaring war on me and the official opposition on social media, saying that they would do whatever it takes, spend whatever union dues they can to prevent me from becoming the Prime Minister of Canada. I'd like you to think about that for a moment. Even if you're not a conservative, we can probably agree that this goes beyond the pale. A union boss attacks me one week, and the next, those he represents are the beneficiaries of a big Liberal government announcement. Now, when I've been saying the Liberals are trying to stack the deck against us, this is what I'm talking about. And it's unacceptable. This payout is unacceptable. This special panel is unacceptable. And the conduct of Justin Trudeau's government is undeserving of the office he holds. Everything I've just talked about, we have all this working against us. But we have people like you supporting us. Canadians from all walks of life, ones that are concerned about getting ahead, not just getting by. It's the Canadians that want to put people before government, that want to take home just a little more of their paycheck every week to help with the essentials of living in an increasingly expensive world. The Liberals might have your tax dollars to spend any way that helps them instead of helping you. They might have the pundits, the academics, and the connected insiders. But we have you. And I like those odds. So please consider helping us finish 2018 strong with a donation today. Thank you so much for your support.
Okay, so did you see what I didn't like? The whole video was really, really good right up until the "We Have You" part. So, and I think that they're testing campaign slogans right now. I think we saw some other tests the other week, and it's not on the top of my head, and I can't remember the campaign slogans, but that's how forgettable they were. It didn't stick. But the "We Have You," I don't know about that. I think that you end this video hammering Trudeau and say, if you want to help me continue to hammer Trudeau, donate now. Not "We've got you," donate now. I want to hold this crazy person accountable for our government. Help me, donate. Right? That's how you end that video. So there you go. And for anybody else making political videos, conservative PPC, focus. Right? Like, I liked this video started out with Scheer talking about Justin Trudeau media payout to the media, and a special panel who gets to decide who gets the payout, right? So here's a $600 million fund, and if you play by our rules, we'll give it to you, right? But we get to decide. So the government, and he says the government shouldn't get to decide on which journalists stay and which don't, right? And they shouldn't. That's true. And he says optics are a threat to a free press, right? And the optics are that the press has been purchased. And oh yeah, they sure are. And then he goes into Justin Trudeau's first day of office, and Justin Trudeau says he's going to be faithful to Queen Elizabeth and her heirs. Right? What? The heirs? Really, Justin? And then Scheer goes back to saying he's entrenched an unfair advantage. So on one side, he's got the media. Two, he doesn't have to spend time in the House of Commons. He's changed the campaign finance rules, and he's enabling election fraud by sending out by allowing these identity cards to be used as address proof, but they're being sent out to all sorts of people who shouldn't get them. So Scheer's saying this is improper, right? So two improper things, hammering Justin Trudeau. He brings in Diaz, and when I was watching the first time, I thought, oh man, you're getting way off track. You're getting too much stuff here because people are going to forget, right? But Diaz tied in because he's the rep for the journalists, and he literally declared war on Scheer. So it made perfect sense. Scheer tied it in really well. He said, think about that. Even if you're not a conservative, right? A union boss attack, the next day they get a big government bailout or payout. It makes perfect sense. That's a 1-2 punch that makes sense. Don't mess it up with "We've got you." come on, like put him down, right? You don't want to fight another round with the guy. Put him down, give him another punch to the jaw. And I mean, we've all seen Trudeau's glass jaw, right? He goes right to the floor. So don't give him a chance to regroup, punch him, and then tell people to donate after you punch him, right? So don't go to "we've got you." I understand why you did it, but don't go there. Come on. So on one side of things, here it is. One side, Max makes Scheer better because he has been blazing the trail, and Scheer is, I mean, the establishment is just trying to make Max a joke, right? Like the article from CTV yesterday started with the pundits could barely contain their smirks, right? So Max is supposed to be a joke, but he's pulling this conversation about immigration, about Trudeau's pulling the conversation about himself because he's an absolute buffoon. But the rest of it, the stuff that people are interested in, Max is hitting those notes first, and Scheer's watching it and not aping it because this is different. This is not something that Maxime has done. But Maxime being out there blazing those trails makes Scheer, and by extension, his party better. And here's the other side of this coin. I've seen the polls. I know that maybe this isn't true. But I think that the Liberals are so far left, and I think that Trudeau has alienated so many people, Quebec's numbers notwithstanding, because I saw that Nanos poll yesterday, that I think that they're going to be relegated down to third. I think they're going to go all the way down to third. Singh will be fourth, and it'll be 1 or 2 between People's Party and the CPC, because the CPC is coming out as a strong centrist party, which is what Scheer has said. And initially, I mean, I worked 15 years in schools and children's mental health. I used to be as lefty as they come. People did not like fighting with me on Facebook because I drank the Kool-Aid. And things, I woke up, I started reading, and that's a good thing. But the point is, I think there's enough room for Scheer and for Bernier. And we've seen stranger things happen, like Justin Trudeau launching himself from third to the prime ministership with a massive majority on flimsy credentials and post-nation states and budgets balancing themselves. Like, that happened, right? So I think that there's a whole lot of room for lots and lots of movement between now and October. And Justin Trudeau's digging his grave even deeper, and more taxes, come into play in just a few days, right? Like the carbon tax and the CPP increase. People will be losing a lot of money off their paychecks going into an election year. Trudeau is not doing himself. I mean, he's stacking the deck. He sure is. He's stacking the deck with the rules, and he's stacking the deck with regulations, etc. And I don't think that's fair. But as far as the electorate goes, he's in deep, deep trouble. And if the Liberals don't see that, well, the Liberals see that. They know what's happening. That's why the polls are coming out fast and furious about Trudeau and Scheer being in a statistical tie, or Trudeau edging a little bit. They're trying to. Polls are meant to shape public opinion. I don't think they're reflective of public opinion. They're meant to shape public opinion. So, anyway, that's my piece today. And well, I had a lot more, but I went long on the first 2, so I'm just going to cut it there. Have a wonderful day, and stay safe out there. Thanks for watching.